Hello, Honorable, and welcome to the Nigerian and Diaspora Organization, South Savannah. And we are on our NIDO radio show and Wellness
Yes,
and
so
Wahala podcast. And I have my
yes,
co-host, Mr. Collins Ikego Onu, and I'm Dr.
yes.
Tomi Ademokum, better known as I'm a Vice President of Nigerian and Diaspora Organization. And we have a special, what we call VVIP in Nigeria, I
Absolutely,
guess. And she is in
absolutely,
Nigeria right now,
absolutely,
currently. I am jealous. I wish I was there with her.
absolutely,
She's
absolutely,
there with her husband, who is Nigerian. So she is
absolutely.
family.
Yes,
Collins, over to you. And then we will open the floor for our VIP guest,
yes.
Honorable Valencia Stovall.
Thank you very much. Thank you
Yeah.
very much, Dr. Tommy, and thank you so much for making this possible, and as well as our dear honorable. I can see some trend going on here because the trend that I'm seeing, y'all are all rocking at the rate. And
Yes.
unfortunately, I'm wearing a red shirt, which I don't know what really made me to do that. But
You didn't get the
nonetheless,
memo.
next
See,
time,
me and Honorable,
I
we're
didn't,
in the spirits. We're in the
I didn't,
spirits.
I didn't get the memo,
Right.
but I'll be more prepared next time to handle this. But nonetheless, thank you very much. This is NIDO South Savannah and also Wellness and Wahala podcast. We're here with our honorable Valencia Stovall. She's a wonderful person, great mother, family, and she's been
Thank you.
promoting Nigeria more than we can ever think of. So it's always a pleasure having you over here. And then we wanted to have, a very, one-on-one, discussion as regards to, these days we know you've been traveling back and forth in Nigeria. You're married to our dear brother that is, changing the narratives. And I know both of you, with your collective ideas, you all are definitely have so much to share with us. Thank you very much once again. And I will say, let me take on the first questions. We would like to know what act.
Before you
Oh,
jump
yes,
in,
ma'am. Yes,
I
ma'am.
wanted to say all her titles because she is Mrs. Honorable Valencia Stovall, but she's also the
Okay.
Yeye Meto of Papalanto, Ewekoro LGA local government area of Ogun State. I hope I said
Yeah.
that correctly, but
Yes.
she
Yes.
is
Yes.
a big
Yes.
Yes.
oga and chief, the chief Yeye. So welcome.
Welcome. Welcome. Forgive
Thank
me,
you.
Honorable Stovall. Let me repeat. It's Yeye Meto of Papalanto. Thank you
Yes.
so much. It's an honor to have you here, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes.
So the first question is, what brought you and your husband to Nigeria on this trip?
You're
And
welcome. You're welcome.
yeah, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. My bad. I said, what brought you and your husband, to Nigeria on this trip and how you felt being back as Yeye Meto of Papalanto? Thank you.
Yeah. So first off, thank you. And for those who know that, the internet connection here goes in and out. So if we pop off, we'll just pop back on. I've gotten kind of used to that. The first time, of course, it was a shocker because I was like, what's going
Yes.
on? Who hit the electric pole?
Never took light.
So I was trying to figure out what was going on the first time.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is every time I visit, of course, I learn and experience something new. One thing that doesn't change is the welcome feeling that I feel from Nigerians when I land at the airport in Lagos. It is a very warm feeling. It's a relief, of course, of being around people that look like me and are in charge of the country, unlike, of course, in America. And the last time I was here, this past February, it was a very challenging experience at that time. What brought me here, of course, was to come see my husband who lives here in Nigeria. So that was and new friends that I found and met here. Actually met a lady on the airplane, and we were talking, sitting next to each other. And she actually was from Ogun State as well. So I got her number. So now I have somebody else to call. But she's actually lives in Indiana.
Okay.
Um, you just happen to be on the same plane coming here. But that experience I had in February was the first time I had ever had a trip like this. And it was a very challenging experience. 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 It was a very ch experience where there was a fire at the Lagos airport. And so they delayed our flight for like about 2 days. So that's when I really realized that I was not in America and was able to, see how foreigners feel when they come to America. Being in a new place, you don't understand the language, you might not understand how the system works. Of course, the money rate, was different. I couldn't just say I'm gonna use my American money, and everything. So they lodged us at a hotel, but that right there was a whole experience by itself. Even the bus that we took from the airport to there was not air conditioned. I was almost like hanging out the window on my way to that particular hotel. It was a really an experience. And I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm coming back to Nigeria. It was terrible. It was terrible because my husband had already left, and then I had to call him to tell him that he had to come back to Lagos from Ogun State because my flight was delayed 2 days. And of course, he's an elected official in Ogun State. So he's like, I can't come right back. And then, of course, the traffic and the roads and all of that. Yes. And so he couldn't come back, didn't get back till I think the next day, that morning, he was able to come back. But, I had to rough it, and I had to learn then that I couldn't be a nice and nice American, that I really had to be aggressive about things that I wanted, to happen. And so that's was kind of the funny part. I was like, in America, we used to say, well, hey, I want to speak to the manager, and all of this. And it was like, manager what? We'll get to you when we get to you. So that was, that was the experience. And then, of course, I don't eat all the Nigerian food. So I had to be real when I went to ask for my chicken or chicken lap. And they was like, we ran out, we wasn't expecting this many people. We have this, we have that. I was like, oh God, what am I gonna do? So
oh wow.
It was an experience, but I know every time I come with an open heart and open to learning new things, so that I don't get stressed out because of course it's not America. And so, but going back so we got through that. I was able to get back to the airport. Of course, I was thinking, since it was the airport's fault, that when we got there, they were going to have people to accommodate us, to help us bring our luggage into the airport. That didn't happen.
You're on your own. You're on your own.
Get your luggage back into the airport. Right. And so, I really learned a real valuable lesson that, okay, when I come back, I got to be extra prepared, for what could possibly happen that I never thought would happen. But I knew, but I knew then, I realized then that it was a bigger plan, in place that God had in place for me. In October of this year, it will actually be 2 years that my husband and I have been married. And we're definitely looking forward to him living in America. And another thing I wanted to touch on. Yeah, one thing I did want to touch on is, unfortunately, our current American policies are not favorable for foreign marriages with certain countries. Other countries, they're more favorable than, of course, a lot of the African countries. And it's ironic. Yeah, and it's ironic for a country built, yes, it is. And it's ironic for a country built on liberty and justice for all to enact policies that are in opposition of that. Our Supreme Mary is a liberty interest that's protected by our 14th Amendment. A marriage is made stronger, of course, with companionship, physical affection, emotional support, intimacy, and daily experiences that strengthen that bond between the two people. And no amount of video, no matter how many times we video call, we text, it can never replace, those things.
Yes,
both of us.
absolutely.
And I made my notes. That's why I'm have my little paper here so I wouldn't forget.
Yeah, okay.
No, that's
Our
fine. That's fine.
marriage is
Well, yeah,
definitely a test of endurance. Yes, it's definitely a test of endurance and love because of delays that have made it nearly impossible for us to simply live together. And of
yeah,
course, I'm going to continue to use my voice to amplify these injustices for so many couples that are like me. And when we enter into the relationship, of course, we never imagined it was going to be 2 years and we're still pending and waiting to hear back from immigration. But one thing, it was a message yesterday I heard, I was listening online to one of the church messages, and it said, nothing stops purpose. So no matter what, nothing can stop a purpose when God has something set for you. And
absolutely.
so that's kind of where I
Absolutely.
look at when you ask me about what brought me back to Nigeria after my challenging experience with the airport, with the
Absolutely.
airport and everything else. But I knew it was a bigger purpose.
Yes,
Great,
yes,
great. I'm very happy that you had an open mind and as well as the endurance,
yes,
persistence, and as well as accepting the reality at the moment of the challenges that you're going through. But like you said, nothing stops what you have as a purpose. And I know definitely, regardless of all the issues, you still see the best in everything, in every situation. You still see the best. And that kind of leads me to the next question that we have. I know you've been to Nigeria, you have, lived in Ogun State for a while now. You've been congratulations in your upcoming anniversary. Have you been able to go to like some of the historical sites in Nigeria, like the Badagry, the slave castle, the point of no return? Going to any of those museums or landmarks in Ogun State. Can you share your experience? What it is like for you and your husband. Trying to visit those areas and some of the changes. You all feel like you can make in the community.
Yes. So, of course, my first visit back in October 2024, I told my husband we have to go to Badagry. And of course, I knew he didn't understand the importance of that as an African American to go to the point of no return. So
yes,
we got a
Great.
chance to share and me explain to him, why it's so sentimental to African Americans because of the atrocities that happened with slavery and not being able to trace our lineage back to who we are. And I tell him, I said, I can ask you who's your mother's father, what
Mm-hmm.
your tribe. I can ask you about your dad. You can tell me, with not blinking your eye, all of this information. I
Mm-hmm.
said, for us, we only are limited to what we can go back to, depending on the oral history that was left by our grandparents and great grandparents, and a lot of us don't have it. And so being able to go to the point of no return was very, like I said, very emotional for me because I was just imagining that so many Africans didn't make it across that transatlantic slave trade, what happened. But those that did, it had to be a purpose for them being able to survive all of that, and then their children having to survive, the harshness and everything that happened, um, and just everything to come to me being alive and being able to go back, to that particular land where my ancestors came from. So it's a real big deal. And so visiting Badagry, of course, it was an adventure. We got on the little boat that took us over to the island, and then my husband had to negotiate the price for getting on the bike to take us from the
Gaga.
dock, to
So the
yeah,
actual
to
Badagry
that
place, yeah,
part.
yeah.
Yeah, and then of course it was a long, like a so many miles walk to get to the beach. So he was negotiating with the ride on the bike to get there, and it was just so funny because of course I didn't understand the language, but I knew they were fussing at each other, and I was telling him I was laughing because I was like, y'all always fuss about everything. I said, do y'all even talk low to each other? And he was just laugh. And so, driving on the bike there, we stopped by the well, which they say was the last place that the slaves could drink water, and that it was said that the whites had put something in the water that make them forget, to take away their memory of them leaving from Africa. And so, getting there and seeing the actual relic of what they had to walk up and walk down to get to the boat to take them to the slave ship was just emotional, even by itself. I would love to have seen it preserved more. And even when I shared, with my husband, was that, hold on for 1 second.
Yeah.
Sure, sure.
Yes.
Okay. So even when I shared with my husband, actually, who just walked in, you want to say hello to everybody?
Hello.
So this is Honorable.
Greetings, sir. How are you, sir?
Your name.
Hello,
I'm
Honorable.
fine.
How are you, sir? How are you, sir? Honorable.
Yeah, good evening. How are you? I'm fine. I'm
Good,
fine.
Greetings
good.
from America, Nigerian and Diaspora
Diaspora.
Organization. We've heard great things about you, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you for taking care of
Thank
our
you.
wife.
Thank you.
And
Thank
also,
you. Thank you.
hopefully,
Thank
And
you.
this
she
Nice meeting
football.
you. I appreciate you.
And
Thank
she
you,
sir.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir.
Thank
And
you.
also,
Thank
we
you.
hope
Thank
to
you.
interview Honorable in the NIDO Diaspora in the future, please. I think Honorable will be a good candidate for NIDO Diaspora, NIDO Radio, sir.
Yes.
And also Wellness and
It's not
Wahala
good.
podcast, please.
It's my pleasure. No problem. Anytime you want, just tell to let her know when the time or date will be. I will prepare myself. I'll make myself available to attend to you.
All right,
Yes, sir.
Honorable.
And
Thank
she
you
sir.
so much. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
You're
for what you're
welcome.
doing. Thank you for taking
You're
care
welcome.
of her as well. Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much, sir.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah.
And
Good, good.
so,
Yes.
yes. So as I was saying, I think that the Nigerian government overall, in my opinion, doesn't understand how precious and sentimental that historic relic is with the slave museum, and especially that point of no return. I think Ghana understands it very well. I would say Senegal understands
Yep.
it as well. And it's my hope that through what we're doing now and in the future, is being able to bring that awareness to them to pay more attention to the preservation of those historic relics. Because a lot of times when they're destroyed, then people are able to say it never happened.
Mm-hmm.
People across the world that say slavery never happened.
Yes.
But Black able to visit places like Badagry and other places that shows that it did happen. That's our physical evidence, that it did happen. And then them being able to have those artifacts that are in there, pictures that are in there, all of that makes a huge difference. And so from there, we actually left there and came back, but I've visited Olumo Rock since I've been here. Now,
Oh,
and that
okay.
was really
That's
nice. I
great.
got tricked going up the steps though, because I didn't
You
know
went
it
up.
was that many 126 steps.
Yes.
So yeah, so I didn't know. So when I got ready to go, the tour guide said, "Oh, it's not that bad. You will be up before just come on, Mom, come on." I was like, "Okay, they'll reel me up. I'm going." And then we got to the top. He said, "Did you know you just climbed 126 steps?" I was like, "What?" I said, "I'm
What?
glad you didn't tell me, because I would not have gone."
Right. You would be like, no, thank you.
But it was amazing. Yeah, I would say, nah, just tell me about it. But once we got up there, being able to see all of Abeokuta, and then being able to see where people actually live up in the cave areas, and I was asking questions of, well, how do they bring water up here? And they said it's a pathway for them to get down. I was able to see the Ogun River, from up there. And so that was a really, really nice experience for us, because I didn't even know that existed. You know, I know we visit stuff in America like Rock City, or something like that. But just to know that people actually live there, currently live there,
Yeah.
was just amazing, you know, by itself, and how the importance of Olumo Rock when the war was taking place, when the Oyo dynasty, when they were coming into Ekba land, and how the Yorubas and both of them joined together, and because they stayed up in the rocks, they were able to fight off and beat Daomi when they came in for the war. So just, you know, find that out. And of course, when I think about the Lion, what was the name of the movie? My head is when I was about to say Lion King, but that wasn't what I was trying to
No,
say.
the Woman King,
But
Naomi.
yeah, the Woman
Yep.
King, yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
trying to think of. And just thinking about hearing the word Naomi, and how they had their particular um,
It's all right. I think we're having a slight of a network issue here, but once again, we'd like to, this is NIDO Radio, and as
that
well
came
as
within itself. And actually got a chance to sit with him, talk with him, because he had visited Georgia back, yeah, back in May of 2023. So, and I had told him then, I said, I'm coming to Abeokuta. He said, "When you
Abeokuta, yes.
come,
yeah.
you're welcome to come to the palace." So yes, and so I got a chance. That was a very good experience, watching that whole process, and really amazed at how beautiful the palace looked, the marble floor. I was like, "Hey, about this over here." I was like, wow, it looks so nice. And so, and I also got a chance to Papalanto, to visit with King Jimo,
Yes.
Yeah.
who just and they received it. When so, Kuta, I think fellow Kuta, the museum, we were in the process of so his statue drive in not first woman to drive in Nigeria. Was interesting to know that part. And, let me see. I visited, and then of course in Badagry, two-story church that was built, and I said, it was a very good experience. I think that may be all I visited. So riding
Nope.
around town and going to visit some of the villages to visit
That's a lot of places.
is from, and saw them. So, I think that being able to share that with others, and them being able to have the same experience as me, helps them to appreciate Africa, especially uh, different from what we've been told in the myths that we've been that's been shared with about all.
Oh, that's really awesome. That's really awesome. It seems like you have really taught a lot of places and had very wonderful experiences, which you will continue to share with the people back here, as well as the rest of the society. But we really appreciate that, and I hope that memory will continue to live in you, and you can continue to share the good news. Absolutely, there are so many improvements we need to make as a society, and with your knowledge and your experience, and of course with your husband, I know things will be taking place in the right direction. Thank you very much. We really appreciate that. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, thank you, Honorable. Those are great places that you
Yes.
talked about, from visiting the Oba, the king and his palace, to Olumo Rock, to the Badagry Slave Castle, The Door of No Return. These are great places that, hopefully more African Americans. I know you said next year you're planning for your family, for your daughter, your granddaughter to come. These are, great ways to really bridge the gap of the history that was stolen, from us. They don't teach the real history in our history books here in the US. So thank you for, giving us the insights. And that gets me to my next question. You're wearing your beautiful Adire. So in Nigeria, and I'm also wearing, my custom-made Wellness Wahala Adire. And I have an autograph book, my Wellness Wahala. So when you come back, I will be sending you and your husband an autographed copy of my Wellness Wahala book. But she has our wonderful Adire, and she has come up
Yes,
with a business, and I wanted you to talk about that. She's wearing her Adire now, also with her coral beads. So over to
absolutely,
you, Ma.
absolutely. That's beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
I will definitely ask you to bring some Adire back when you're coming back for me, because I'll
Yes.
love to have mine as well. Thank you.
He's jealous. He's jealous.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah, so of course I got a chance to visit the Adire market, where I actually saw them, the finished product, laying out the product that had been dyed, and then I saw them bring in the cotton in, and then it's one to get some, fabric like the kind that I have on, and of course I take things back. Um, Make sure my dad gets a outfit, at least a top that he wears that actually his birthday. He was just so proud to where he then that was our in a tradition. I've grown to, of course, grown to love it and admire it, and decided to create a business, still in this early emphasis stage, dealing with event and home table runners. So I had
Okay.
thought about clothing, but then I know that people have different sizes, and I was like, I don't want to deal with this. Not my right size. I want to
Right.
return it, so I didn't want to deal with any of that. I said, let me find something simple starting off,
Yes.
that's easy for and manageable. So I know, as African Americans, we are always celebrating the African culture.
Yes.
And a lot of times it's hard for us to find the original fabric, that we can get our hands on. And
Mhm.
so I thought about, we have the Black History Month, and then of course we have Juneteenth, and then just overall we have people that have baby showers, weddings, retirement, that still want to celebrate our African culture. And so I said, what better way than to offer table runners and matching napkins for them to be able to decorate at their different events that they're having. That would be authentically made in Nigeria, sewn here, with the different Adore styles, and some Ankara, depending on what the fabric is that I get my hands on. So I named the product line would be called Monife USA. So Monife, then love, then the word love, born and raised in America. So I wanted to blend the two together, and
Yeah.
so that's how I came up with Monife USA.
Nice.
And like I said, these table runners and napkins, and eventually we will expand out to probably pillow covers and some other things that people would love to have in their own homes. But right now, it's ideal for weddings and receptions, banquets, galas, birthday, baby showers, birthday parties, conferences, church, cultural celebrations, fundraising, and even awards dinner. So those are the areas, and I've already started working with the event planner. We're planning a showcase in January to kind of kick off. So I've been here working on getting some sample pieces together to be able to showcase. Once I get back home and seeing how to really develop it so that I could be able to support in the USA and also support the emergence in Nigeria.
I think that is awesome. That is awesome. And we have our annual general meeting that we usually have. So it'll be great when you come back. Hopefully, when we set the date for the next one, we'll be able to feature Monife, which is, Love USA Adire at our next annual general meeting of our Nigerian Diaspora organization. So thank you for that. And that leads me to my final question as someone that, held an elected office here in the state of Georgia. There's a lot that we need to do in bridging the gap and engaging the diaspora back at home. What are your final words when it comes to, trying to set up a LAISA office, at the state level, like you're in Ogun State? I know I linked you up with someone from Ogun State. They're very interested. It'll be great if we have that because, in other diaspora communities, the Jewish community, the Asian communities, they have a very strong diaspora. They have a liaison office that liaises with, in regards to trade with the US
Yes.
and so forth. But we have a long way to go. And Nigeria and across Africa, 54 nations, we don't really have a strong organized diaspora and really trying to, make sure that a lot of the blessed resources that we have, that we're able to get it out to the world, but also, for our people to also benefit,
Yes.
as far as technical assistance, training, and trade. So I just wanted to hear your viewpoints and also any last words that you have for our Nigerian
Absolutely.
diaspora and our Wellness Wahala
Yeah.
listeners. Over to you, Ma.
Success looks like, first, I think when thinking about establishing the diaspora liaison office is educate, 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 educate. And I think that when I say educate, it's educating Americans about Nigeria and the people, the customs and tradition that makes it unlike in America. And what happens once we are able to value more any opportunities that may be presented. Because right now, of course, like you said earlier, what we're taught in our history books as growing up was never favorable to Africa. And so because this has been instilled in us for generations and generations, until some of us who are fortunate enough to visit the continent of Africa, are we able to come near the truth? But then you think about it's only a small portion of us that are able to do that compared to the millions of people that live in America. And so I think as those in diaspora having that ability to be able to educate America, say, hey, you all might have thought that we live in bushes and everybody is hair dressed, or that we don't have housing, formal things of government, we don't have an education system, which we know is not true because every Nigerian student that I ran into is always more well educated, more student. That doesn't happen, but because of what we've been told. So now you have to demystify our thinking and appreciation for the country of Nigeria. I noticed that a lot of times you all, when I said you all Nigerians, will have events, and a lot of times you may not invite Americans to come. And then if you do, it's really no one to help translate what's actually taking place. So I remember when we did the first Yoruba cultural celebration with me and late Chief Adeyemo, that was one of the things I stressed. I said, now if we do this, it has to have a portion where people can understand what you all are saying and what you're
Yes.
doing. I said that helps us to appreciate it, and we don't look at it as, oh, that's wrong.
Yes.
It doesn't happen in America, does not mean that it's wrong. It's just a different culture. And so having that conversation and someone taking the time, kind of similar. I've seen some dances just like we do as Americans, and we be like, oh, that's where we get that from, And so those things that are different, and then there are a lot of things that are similar. But having someone to really take the time to explain, to us, why do you, when it's a celebration, why do you spread money? We think of it as somebody in the strip club, which is totally different. I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, why they giving that money? They ain't in the strip club, because we don't do that ordinarily.
Right.
And the first thing is embracing the African Americans, starting out, and just Americans, period. But taking that time to really explain what the culture is all about. And then identify those natural minerals and beautiful environments that exist in Nigeria, and especially the two states that we're talking about. Because we have no idea that what exists. I didn't have stones, where especially in Abeokuta and the Ewekoro local government. I had no idea until the chief having to tell me, oh no, this is limestones, and then this particular company, cement company, is located there. And so then when I got here and seeing all the abundance of banana trees, the abundance of mango trees, the other fruit. I mean, I was just like, wow, it's just sitting there. Y'all could just go and grab it off the tree and eat it. So all of that is stuff that I didn't know existed until I actually came in through conversations. And then what products and stuff can be developed from those natural minerals and natural resources that you all have here, because we don't have an idea. So that may go into research and development that can start when you're talking about how do you invest, and you look for investors in the country, but giving them ideas of how they could best invest. And going back to understanding opportunities that exist, being able to have an open mind for accepting differences, and like I said, and acknowledging similarities, identifying how those in the diaspora can influence changes in policies in both the states. That's a big thing that I've seen. I've seen a lot of which could make doing business more appealing and appeasing here in Nigeria than what I've seen with just policies. I give you an example. Of course, the road infrastructure is very important because some of those places that I think could be more accessible, that would even help with investment opportunities, are now hampered or delayed because of the infrastructure. Um, so I think kind of balance all of that policies, which strongly done how areas they may have that. And like I said, I know that comes from the strong influence of Nigerians that are in the diaspora, being able to, come back and talk to the current elected officials on, hey, if we want to grow, we said we're the powerhouse of Africa. Let's show that we're the powerhouse of Africa by our policies, and especially being similar to how the American government is set up.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And just thank you for all of those tips, Honorable, especially, on that last note about engaging our representatives. There's a lot of Nigerians in the diaspora that still don't engage their, state representative, their senators. Sometimes you even ask them, okay, who are your senators? Like here in Georgia, they don't know. We have Warnock, we have,
Yes,
Ossoff,
that's
we have
true.
2 senators per state, so it's really good how you emphasize us getting
That's
involved.
true.
Also, traveling is learning. We cannot go by what we hear in the media and what we hear in the news. There's so much false narratives out there. So I'm happy that you shine some light on, the positive aspects of Nigeria. A lot of people hear a lot of negativity, but people see even the background. You're in a beautiful home. We might have challenging electricity. We might not have as high speed of internet, but people are trying. Even now they're bringing. When I went back home, I know my uncle, he was having internet issues, so I was able to get him Starlink, the satellite, and he was able to improve that. So we can even use innovations here and take it back and say, okay, this is how you can improve areas that are a challenge. But hopefully, we can come up with our own Starlink. We don't have to, rely on Elon Musk. It's good that he has created such an innovative
Yes.
product, but we have the resources, the uranium, the titanium, all the, tools that they use to make these satellite dishes and drones.
Yes.
We can actually do it ourselves. And there's a lot of African Americans and Nigerian Americans that are into that IT and cybersecurity and internet sector. So just thank you. Your Adire
Absolutely.
is beautiful. We
It
can't
is.
wait to, till you
Absolutely.
fully launch it. I know it's in the beginning
Thank
stage,
you.
but we are here
Absolutely.
to support you at our next event. We're going to make sure we sport your Monife, which means in Yoruba, love,
Yes.
USA apparel on the tables and the decorations. And that's a way also to, to discuss, our beautiful material and attire. And even, in Fashion Week, like the New York Fashion Week, they're stealing a lot of like our African fashion. So it's good for us to start
Yes.
promoting it ourselves, because a lot of now these
Mm.
mainstream big designers, they're trying to steal original designs that have been with us, for centuries. So thank you, ma'am, for
Absolutely.
having us today.
I
Yes.
just want to add to that also that you are listening from NIDO Radio and
I
Wellness
wanted to mention
Wahala
I
podcast.
wanted to mention one other thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead, ma'am. You wanted to say
Yes, I
something?
want to
Yeah, I
mention
want
one
to add.
other thing that when you
Absolutely.
asked about places that I visited. So I found out that in Nigeria and across the world, America has what's called American space. And
Mhm.
so it's a location, a place where Nigerians can learn about America, which I had no idea. I was looking at something and came across it, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
So I got a chance in my last visit to actually go to the American space, and it's 2 places in Ogun, but the one I went to was at the Ogun Presidential Library area. And so at the youth, yeah, it was located there. I got a chance to some of the young adults that were there. They were using, of course, the Wi-Fi and the space there. So I got a chance to express to them me being an American, answer any questions that they got. I really, really enjoyed being able to talk with them and them being able to talk, with me, and actually plan on going back to make sure I visit before I leave, go back again and visit. And so just knowing, I had no idea that America had that particular location. I just knew about the embassy, but I didn't know that they actually had something on the ground
Mhm.
that was paid for by the U.S. government.
Yes.
So that was amazing. I did want to make sure I made mention of that. Anytime Americans may be, in Nigeria, definitely looking up the American space and going and speaking to those youth and those young adults that are looking at interested, in what's happening in America.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
very much,
bringing that
Honorable,
up,
for
because
calling
that's
that out. Yes.
I actually knew about American Spaces, but I didn't know that, I know about the one in Lagos and I know about the one in Abuja, but I didn't know that they've now started expanding to other states, which is very good. And I think that that's an avenue where, we can, continue to teach each other. As you said, you went there. They have really good internet in those spaces. They have information about America, but more importantly, having people like you that come there and say, okay, I was born and raised in America. I can tell you firsthand, my own experience, in the state of Georgia. I think that is great. So we could probably try to reach out to the embassy to see if we can get, I'll look on their website, but if not, reach out to their American Service Liaison to see what is the full list, because once again, you didn't know. So that means the average Nigerian does not know, because about you just
Absolutely.
accidentally, was able to find out about that. And I think those are the way why, shows like this, NIDO Radio Wellness Wahala, a lot of our listeners, they're hearing about this, and those that have traveled into Nigeria, that's a great space to go and also, share. It's a great exchange. As you said, they learn from you. You also, were able to learn from them, and it's extremely impactful talking to the youths, because they're our future leader of tomorrow, so
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
always love engaging with the youths.
Yes.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you just said it all. It's all about educate, educate, educate. Information is the key. The right information is the key. And, having such a space within the,
Yes.
four walls of Nigeria creates a very huge value. It's a value added project, which we definitely have to tap into. But if you don't know, you can't tap into it. So it's something that we're looking forward,
Yes.
working to see how we can all partner and be able to execute a lot of projects. Hopefully, before next year, NIDO South Savannah is planning definitely to organize a cultural and as well as a diversity event. Hopefully, by next year during the African American week or month, we can partner and be able to showcase your product, the Adire, the Wellness and Wahala trademark Adire as well.
Thank you.
Showcase it and make it a very colorful event. It's something we're looking forward partnering with you, and hopefully we'll make it happen in the state of Georgia. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a pleasure having
Thank
you.
you. Yes.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you. I really appreciate you all, especially Dr. Tomi, for reaching out and saying, I want to interview you while you're in
In
Nigeria.
Nigeria,
So
yes.
I really appreciate that. Yes, enjoy it. I'm glad it's not raining as much, since I've been here. So that's been good. And of course, I always look forward to all the horns bumping. Boop, beep, 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 beep. Every time I come, my mind is already getting prepared for all the horns that I'm going to hear.
I think
The
by now you
Wahala
should be able to write a
traffic.
novel about, visiting
Yes.
Nigeria. It's something that will be great to share. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Eventually, I have on my to-do list is to learn how to drive in the Nigerian traffic. So I already told my husband that I want to learn how to drive. I said, I know it's going to be an adventure because it's not nothing I'm used to it. But
Yeah.
so that's what I want to do.
Thank you very much, Yeye Meto of Papalanto. We really, really appreciate
You're
you.
welcome.
I appreciate your husband as well, and I appreciate all that you have shared with us. To our viewers out there, NIDO Radio and also Wellness and Wahala podcast, please tune in and make sure, you participate. Thank you very much. And you'll have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, evening. And my regards to the whole family in Nigeria. They will really appreciate. Good
Yes.
seeing you.
All right. Thank
Yes.
you.
God bless
Thank
you, and
God
thank
bless
you
you
so
too.
much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.